the intensity, particularly after Silverstone, on track between Lewis and Max became so intense. I think Max had very strong feelings on that Silverstone accident. And of course, he'd been clear championship leader going into Silverstone. Him out of the race, and then more or less out of the race in Hungary when he got hit by Valtteri. Not intentional at all, but still got hit and pretty much hardly scored any points. So gone from easy championship leaders to now feeling a bit more pressure. And Mercedes managed to find quite a lot more pace out of their car towards the end of the season. So it's always easier for the hunter than the hunted. And Max was starting, I think, to just feel a little bit of pressure from the hunted. And hence that, he was, in reality, was probably lucky not to get a penalty from his driving in Brazil. The Abu Dhabi? No, it wasn't Abu Dhabi, sorry, the one before. Saudi, where they had a bit of a ding-dong. That was a little bit more, I think that was not clear, but Max was probably a bit out of order in Brazil, in truth. So I think he's feeling it a bit, but, and indeed, Checo, it's the usual thing when Checo if the teammate that they've been beating suddenly starts to get closer, it's not that suddenly the teammates got better, it's that the guy, it's the same with Fernando and Felipe Massa towards the end of 2010. Suddenly they get closer because the lead driver's feeling the pressure.
And what do you do with the lead driver in that position? So would you spend time with Max? Would you take it upon yourself to talk to him and see how he's doing? And
a little bit, but I think Max is his own man. He's incredibly mature and rounded and philosophical. I think from the outside, not sure people fully appreciate and understand Max, just like they didn't with Sebastian. Because first of all, there's this sort of demonisation that both of them have suffered at times, which I think is very unfair. And maybe that's also a little bit of the British media, if I'm honest. Sky have a huge influence around the world. Their viewing figures, or their viewing is truly international, but their coverage is quite nationalistic, dare I say, and that can have an influence. It's this thing that now with journalism, typically I'm not saying I don't want to include this, so don't take this personally, but
no offence.
But there is that trend to sort of either put people on a pedestal or knock them down.
It's black or white, heaven or hell. There's no nuance. So for people who, based on what they've seen, have an opinion of Max Verstappen that you wouldn't agree with, what would you like to tell those people that they might have wrong about Max?
I think that he's very intelligent. He's got an incredible ability to. If it almost feels as if he can drive the car automatically, he doesn't, of course, but he has so much, he can drive the car and has so much processing power left over that he can then think a lot about how he's driving the car, how he's looking after the tyres, what he might need to do on the settings, or if he's not sure, ask GP on the radio what he should be doing, but highlighting the problems. Reading the race, it still fascinates me. Fernando's another one that can do that seemed to be able to read the race. But they haven't got all the stuff in front of them. How do they do that? I don't know. Some of that, I know you can see a lot on the Diamond Vision, and they do that. It's amazing how the drivers can see the Diamond Vision, and look up and see.
So, while they're driving a Grand Prix, they're looking at the big screens that are up for the fans in the grandstands.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then seeing the splits and the times and what's going on.
And is that common, or is that a rare skill?
I think it's rare, and it's only the very top guys that can do it. Yeah.
I remember David Coulthard actually saying to me the difference between him and Michael Schumacher when they were racing was what he called spare capacity.
Yeah.
He said when he was at his full tilt in a Formula One car, that took everything out of him. Whereas Michael, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, the true greats, they have a bit left over, wouldn't you say?
They do. They have a huge amount left over. They have huge mental reserve left over.
What if one box could change your running life? We've partnered with Huel, who've put together a running bundle to help everyone find their own version of high performance. It includes 8 Black Edition ready to drink, 8 Huel complete nutrition protein bars, 6 daily A to Z vitamin drinks, a free t-shirt, some running socks, and an extended trial on the Runner app. It's the perfect bundle to get you started on your running journey. So don't miss out. Grab your Huel running bundle worth over £100 at huel.com/running by clicking the link in the description.
I won't name drivers, it'll be unfair, but you can fairly easily see it if you watch a Formula One race and you know a bit about it. You can see the ones that haven't got much capacity left over. And they're the ones that typically also get in soils and accidents and tangles and so on and so forth, because they've just got nothing left. They can drive a car and they can do a qualifying lap, but be gobsmacked if any of those guys could win a championship.
Can I ask how you feel Max internally dealt with what happened at the end of the 2021 season? Because it still feels to me like Red Bull are blamed for something that was totally not in your control. You know, this was an FIA race director decision that I kind of reflects badly on Red Bull in an unfair way, you know?
I think honestly Max is so, he has such a self-assured, so self-assured, and this is in a positive way, it's not in a negative way. You know, there's arrogance and there's self-assured. And Max is he's not arrogant, but he is very self-assured and self-confident. And he's a deep thinker, but he doesn't let things like that, they don't really get to him. He's able to shut that off and just get on with his job and get on with his task and do what he loves doing, which is driving racing cars.
Did it get to you?
No, it didn't. I mean, I find it actually, I think it got to Mercedes, and instead of saying, okay, well, accepting it and moving on, it started to affect their psyche, which is an interesting one. That's from the outside, and I might be completely wrong.
In what way?
They couldn't let it go. Psychologically, they couldn't let it go. And you have to be, you know, we all have it. You have a bad race, perhaps should have won, and the bloody thing broke down on the last lap or whatever. And I always have a personal rule, if you like, that I will be horrible to be around in the airport in that Sunday evening. But come Monday morning, I got to wake up and be back on it. I can't go back into the factory all miserable and downbeat. Part of my position, I suppose, is to try to hopefully motivate everybody, not so just saying, oh, it's so unfair and we were robbed and all that. Doesn't help, does it?